Hey guys, so I wanted to talk about how it's power over money, and I used the quote, ain't about the money, which is from Empire. Ain't about the money, it's about the power. Ain't about the money, it's about the power. Think about it, think about it. All you gotta do is think about it. Money and power, they're not the same thing. Money make you do it because I told you to do it. Power make you do it because, money make you do it because I paid you to do it. Power make you do it because I told you to do it. And money can be lost, but power never has an alibi. Like, power never dies. Yeah, money can make you fly, but power never dies. And power is what pushes everyone because we we don't get to choose what language we speak. We don't get to choose what we teach our children. We don't get to choose what goes into the school system. Like, the schools can make it illegal to tell the true history to make themselves look good, and then boom, that's it. That's in the laws. The calendar system, if everybody got to wake up and do a job 8 a.m. to 5, even though we know that's not that great of a time, and jobs, they can do a lot of things differently. But point is, 9 to 5, why do you have to spend all of your day working like 8 to fucking 10 p.m.? And then people have to protest to have shorter work hours. And then after they protest, there are still people who have to beg for more work hours because the 8-hour day is not paying them enough. And I just think it is about power because it's about the people we do not see. And we're taught to hate on people and to argue with people in our own lives, in our own areas. But the problem is not them. I don't care. The problem is with the people we don't see, the people who are really in power, pushing us to have this system in place. Because we don't control what food we eat. We don't control where the food comes from. We don't know where it comes from. We don't know who the people in these factories are. We're very much disconnected from nature. We're disconnected from ourselves. We're taught to ignore when we're sick. And everything is taught because as people, there used to be, again, we have 6 million years of history. We have 200,000 years of history as Homo sapiens. We are living in our 1% of history where we're acting weird and we're going in the opposite direction. Other civilizations tried this and they failed. It took a very long time for us to even start growing food and then make the agricultural revolution. And other civilizations, empires, bomb, they fail because, again, they couldn't keep innovating. Like, when the plague happened, the famine happened, the diseases occurred, the crops failed, like they couldn't build anything back up, and then boom, it destroyed them. Whereas in our place where we are in this history, it's like, no, for some reason the Europeans been succeeding. For some reason they just been being able to like make more and more protections for themselves and stay up rich and powerful at the top, controlling everything. And that's why when something is here, for example with computers, phones, it was like what, $5,000 in terms of like back then's money. Because even when we talk about rent, it's like, yeah, rent was lower, but still for a poor person, they couldn't afford rent, they couldn't afford housing, they couldn't even afford to be a home buyer. There are people with generational poverty. But the point is, the things that were once only accessible to rich people, like fancy clothes, now has become freely accessible to poor people. But it still doesn't change the fact that people are still poor. People cannot even enjoy going to see their family, going on vacations, paying their bills, because everything is just adding up to where you have to work your whole life just to survive. It used to be, again, working in a plantation through slavery. It was indentured servants for white people because, again, indentured servants were slaves. They just didn't call them slaves. But point is, that was a thing. And now it's where we work as a wage slave, where we work for money, right? And real rich people never count their dollars. They never count their pennies. They just say, hey, this is my name. hey, I'm rich, and then they get everything, whether they can pay for it or not, whether they can pay back the loan or not. You have companies that do not pay their water bill, over $200,000, they do not pay their water bill, yet they still never get their water shut off. Yet poor people will not pay, and then everything shut off. That is because the attack is again by the rich and powerful on the poor people, right? Yeah, and they're just trying to control people's lives and their minds, track what we spend, track what we identify ourselves as, because race doesn't exist. We keep putting it down in writings and stuff and saying it like it exists, but it's a social construct. Money is just cotton and linseed. Nobody give a fuck about money. Rich people will burn their own money, eat it for fucking breakfast, throw it away in the trash. Like, they don't care about money. They don't even touch money because it's just some computer data. They can just not pay poor people when they want to. Like, they will pause poor people's wages just for fun. I heard, like, if you get a check that's not from a job on payroll, they will pause that check for a week, and then after that you gotta like give it that check. It could be for 10 days, and then boom, they'll process it, because they don't want poor people not working, and they don't want poor people having money through something like a company they don't work at. And they want you to stay at a company for 15 years still, even if it's paying you like $10. They want you to be trapped to where you have no other options but to keep working, because you're what builds up the economy. Like, the cleaners are important, the factory workers are important, and the grocery store workers, people who do restaurants, entertainment, people who build the houses, like, they are more important. Yet a realtor will be making, as we know, a realtor, like, from selling Sunset, they could make like $1 million off of selling one home, but then the people who built the home are still poor and they can't provide for their children. And it's just, there's different classes and levels of our capitalist system where one person can be really rich and still not powerful, but they're still comfortable with accepting the power because the power people are helping them to live effortlessly. And then the poor people at the bottom are helping them live effortlessly because we're the ones taking their orders at these restaurants they go to. We're the ones driving them their food through Deliveroo or DoorDash. And we're the ones who can stand in a line. Like, there used to be like COVID testing and people would pay somebody to stand in line for them. And it was exactly like that. The people at the bottom really help the system go round. For example, men and women. Men can have women to date because women are scared of being poor and homeless. They use poor people as an example of, okay, don't be like this, be scared, and now go get yourself a husband. Now we have the men who are happy, they got a wife, even though she doesn't really love him, and the man doesn't really love her, but he likes how she looks, how she can be, not talking back to him. So now he can work better for the rich and powerful people at the top, head off to the military, be a bouncer, be a security guard, whatever. Anyway, that's how I feel our society is structured. It's very much about keeping rich people, rich and powerful people, and then their friends happy. And then when somebody is poor and is struggling, we just sweep it under the rug and say, oh, we can't do anything. Oh, it's their fault anyway. And I don't think it's ever anyone's fault for how they came out, because our whole world is fucked up and they don't let parents properly parent their children. They don't let us do anything but work. But then that's how I see things, and you shouldn't look at things from the perspective of, well, other people are doing good. You start from the bottom up, and if there's even a bottom, yeah, now there's the problem. Like, everything should be one level playing field, and we act like we can't do this. And in a way, I get it, because you're operating off this system of like capitalism, off the system of I have to hoard more wealth than you, and this system of hierarchy, because again, there are places that do not have a bottom, right? There are places that are egalitarian, full of equality. But to do that, you cannot have a surplus. A surplus means excess. So you cannot have somebody with over $1 million that they can't use. Like, we can track, it'll take someone 200 years, to spend all their money. And that's again if they never grow any more money, right? If they never get any more money. And we know this. And because they have so much money, now they're like, okay, I'll be the one to tell everybody how to use it, okay? Because I'm gonna put it back and I'm gonna tell everybody how to distribute the money because they have so much wealth. And they're like, okay, well, first I'm gonna give this money to my friends. Next, I'm gonna give this money to my families. And then I'm gonna give this money to someone to protect me so nobody steals my money. Then I'm gonna give this money to a church to tell people that I'm a god because I have so much money, or to tell people that they shouldn't worry about being poor because soon, yeah, they're gonna be rich like me. They're really not, but I gotta start brainwashing people. Now I gotta put money into the news to again put out things that are like, what do I want you guys to hear? And it all works to again let the rich and powerful not be looked at and be invisible, even though they're the ones who push out the media, push out the history, change it up to benefit them. And even when I analyze it and other people analyze it, again, it's like I can't really do much. And they know that I can't really do much. They know all I can do is just say some words. And they still got me on file for taxes. They still know my address. They still know my phone number. They still know my legal name, what race I am. They still know how much I made this year. They still know how much I will expect to make based off of the area I was born in, right? They know that stuff. And they're good. And I just think it's good to know this, and I don't want people to just fight among themselves anymore, because the real problem is with the people who are rich and powerful, and the ones who are powerful, who are at the top, mainly, that we don't see. And that's it, because like poor people who act angry, who act rude and steal and stuff and don't care about their jobs and treat me bad, I'm just like, it's the system by design. It's the system by design, okay? Which is also a good documentary to watch by Jacques something. I'll link it in the description.